Welcome to another episode of Parenting in the Far North. I'm your host, Ariane Bureau. Today's guest is LeeAnna Chronister. She's a wife, a mother, and executive director of the Workshop Community Center here in Anchorage. She also is a homeschooler, community advocate, artist, and entrepreneur. She wears a lot of hats. LeeAnna, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah, so we go back a couple years.
We do, a couple, yeah.
Well, yeah, I know, right? After I had my daughter, I came back and I did a big postpartum depression special. You were one of the moms that we had chatted about.
Yeah.
So how have you been since, well, God, that was
a long time ago.
8 years ago.
It was, because,
yeah,
I think the baby that I had in that is also almost 9.
Oh, my goodness.
And then I have my 11-year-old. And then since all then, I've taken guardianship of several teenage siblings of mine. So we'll talk about that later, too. But it's been kind of a crazy adventure for the last almost decade.
Wow, I love that. All right, well, before we kind of dive into some of the topics that we want to chat about today, tell us a little bit more about yourself for people listening in. Are you born and raised in Alaska? What's your tie here?
So I moved to Alaska about 13 years ago. My husband is born and raised here, and I moved up here for a boy, you know?
Right.
Some of us do that. So I moved up here from Oregon. I'm from northeastern Oregon. I have kind of a crazy background there, complicated family life and everything, that I was excited to come to Alaska to escape and start something new. And then my husband grew up here in a very traditional home. He was homeschooled. His dad was a pastor, just very different than my life. That was crazy. Of course, when you have two different lifestyles come together and you have kids, you got to figure out all that stuff. Like, how is this going to look? We're starting something new. Then we had Fiona, and she's 11 now. She's an amazing little artist. Incredibly gifted at softball. We just realized she's a great pitcher.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we have Dakota. She came around a little later. She's also they're both talented artists, and both playing piano right now, but Dakota is our, like, goofball, you know? Clown of the family, goofball. And then when she was 9 months old, we did something crazy. We took guardianship of my 16-year-old brother. JD is his name. And he was on the autism spectrum. And he was so far removed from my life growing up that I didn't really know him very well. And so when we went down to get him, we really didn't know anything about him. We didn't really have a close relationship with him. And so that was a big shift in our family.
I would say so. Wow.
Yeah.
That's like 0 to 100 overnight.
Very much so. Yeah, I had a 3-year-old, a 9-month-old, and a 16-year-old boy.
Oh, my gosh.
Kind of overnight. And he came with a lot of his own baggage and stuff at the time, and behavioral issues and undiagnosed things that we had to sort out. And then a couple years later, we took in another one. My sister Danica, she was 13 the first time she came to live with us, and then she went back for a little bit, and then she came back again. And then we also got another one after that.
I'm trying to keep track of the numbers here. So now we have...
So now I have 5 kids.
5. Because
of them, yeah. So JD, who when we got him, he was 16. He's just turned 24 now.
Wow, okay.
And Danica was 13 first time she came to live with us. She's 19. And then Steven was 11 the first time he came to live with us, and he's almost 16. So, yeah, our family is not traditional by any means, but always moving, always busy. And I homeschool all of them, which makes me pretty crazy. Yeah.
Wow. On top of being a wife, executive director, advocate, artist.
All the things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you wanted to talk about what a family is with diverse needs.
Yeah.
Where do you begin with that? Obviously, we got the background.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So most families have diverse needs at some level. So, it's really any family that has more than one person in it. We have diverse needs. Even individuals by themselves have diverse needs. But I'm talking more about families that have very specific or out of the normal needs. So having a child with a disability, that would be a diverse need. Having 2 children with 2 different disabilities. Now that's where it starts getting really complicated. And that's been our family. So not only did we have different needs when we took these teenagers in, as far as, oh, I have toddler and a baby, those are different needs than a high schooler. Right. But then JD came to us and he had this autism spectrum disorder that we really didn't know anything about. We didn't even know he had it when we went and got him. Like, it was just, and then, trauma and everything else on top of that. So now I'm a mom, a young mom with a toddler, a baby, and this teenager that really needs special one-on-one attention, needs one-on-one education. He needs therapy. He needs somebody to be with him all day to guide him through basic life skills that hadn't been instilled in him before. And then, and then another teenager with other needs and another one. And so when we get thrown into these curveball situations, which is how families end up with, like, no one plans for this, even if it's your biological child. It's always like you have to adapt. You just immediately, everything shuffles. Your whole life gets flipped upside down, and you have to start over. And that's true for each kid that has whatever need, or sometimes it's you, the parent, that suddenly has a medical disability or whatever it is. So these are families with extra complications, extra things that make what they are doing and how they're functioning different from their neighboring family. And so when we became a family with diverse needs, we quickly realized that there are very little resources for families with diverse needs. There's more resources for, like, specific things. So I could say, oh, well, this child needs tutoring. There are tutoring services for this child. That's great, and it addresses the needs of that child. But for the family as a whole who's struggling to adapt, how do you move together?
Because you need multiple
resources. And what I noticed too was that my life quickly became living in my car, dropping kid off over here for this, that kid over there for that. And it was so compartmentalized, whereas, like, this child has this need, this child has this need, and we function just by child instead of as a unit. And it became very broken up like that. And the focus on our relationships together, who has time for that? Even just in a marriage, when you have children with all of these different needs, how do you have time when you're constantly trying to meet all these individual needs? So it was, like I said, for any family, you just get thrown into that. But realizing that there are resources for individual needs, but not for families who are dealing with this, was kind of, it's unfortunate, but it was just a fact that I fell into. And that's actually what caused us to start the community center that we started, was because there was no space for us to just go and be a family somewhere comfortably outside of our home.
Really?
Yeah. Isn't that wild?
That is wild, which you talked about the community impact on a family. So tell me a little bit more about that, and when did that start up? What do you guys offer?
Yeah. So first and foremost, the thing that we wanted was to create a space where everyone felt not only included and comfortable, but like they had something to do, like they had a purpose there. They weren't just there waiting for their sibling to be done or whatever, because we end up doing that a lot to our kids. Like, oh, this is your brother's, da-da-da. And that's fine. You can make them wait. That's great. But what do you go out and do all together that isn't going to cost you $1 million or one kid's going to hate it every time?
Yes.
I mean, it just is. So that was the first vision, was we've got to create a space where everybody can be. Just be. And so we did that. We have a play area for the little kids. We have games and table seating and lounge seating and an art room. So there's something kind of for everyone to do at any given point. And then we have all these different classes that we do there. And we try to make our classes and workshops as inclusive as possible. So there's generally, like, it'll be a family class, a family art class, instead of just,
Just
you know,
the kid.
yeah, just the
Well, that's
student.
great
or
too.
that
You're
student.
fostering those relationships and you're doing it together.
Right.
Which is what your goal was.
Right. Yeah, because there really isn't a lot of that going on, you know. And we have some stuff just for kids and just for adults too, because sometimes that's nice. But we really focus on family events, family activities. So you can come in, and if you have a toddler and a teenager, you still have things to do and everyone's comfortable.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. So, and really isn't. We would go to the library sometimes,
Right.
but that even became challenging.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Where's this magical place located? How can people connect and get involved? And do you need, if you're running all these classes, are you guys looking for people to volunteer or things like that?
Yeah, so we are located in South Anchorage, off Old Seward and Huffman, right next to, there's a gymnastics place and a sushi place. We're right in there.
Okay.
And it's kind of a tricky little spot. If you look
It's
at
a
the door,
hidden gem. So if you're listening,
yeah, it is a tricky little spot. It's a little door where the corner unit, and then you walk in, and it's 4,000 square feet.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it really throws a lot of people off when they walk in. They're like, "Oh, this is huge!"
And it's called the Workshop Community Center.
Yes, it is.
I'm assuming you guys got Facebook.
Yep,
and
we
they can
got
just
all
look
the
it
things.
up. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and stuff going on pretty much all of the time. And like I said, there's really we don't put age limits on a lot of things. So like for our story time, a lot of older kids who maybe that's where they are at their level need to just sit and listen to a story. They're welcome to do that, and it's okay. And there's no shame. And so we have a lot of inclusive events like that you could just bring anybody, and that's really, really awesome.
That's incredible. How long have you guys been having this? When did this start up?
We opened 1.5 years ago.
Okay.
Became a nonprofit right after we opened. And so we operate off donations and grants. So we try not to charge families for any of our services whenever possible. So it's free to come in and play and, do free craft all day Tuesday and just come in and just do stuff together.
That's your goal. You want the families to be together.
Right.
What have you noticed a difference in your family just in the year that you guys have had this going? I'm sure it took a lot of, blood, sweat, and tears to get it going.
Sure
now
did.
that you guys are in it, or is everybody involved? And what's the feedback?
Oh, yeah. Everybody's involved. In fact, I can hardly get my kids to leave and go home because they have made all of these connections with kids in their neighborhood. And so as soon as, another kid walks through the door, oh, we can't leave now. So-and-so's here.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay. Okay. But what I have really noticed is that my kids have become more community minded and they are more aware of the fact that what they do has an impact on people outside of them. And it also, I've noticed, kind of shifts their goals. So the things that they would work really hard for before they were much more self-centered. And now they're thinking more community-minded. How can we do this project? Can we get our friends involved? What if we did a lemonade stand to support the workshop? Those are the things that they're thinking of, which is really cool to watch your kids go, from me, which is our natural inclination. Just any toddler will teach you that.
Yeah.
To, thinking about what other fun program could we put on for kids? They're always the ones coming up with the ideas and brainstorming. So that's really cool.
And do you guys, summertime, get outside of the center and do activities outside? Because, Alaska, I'm sure it is a godsend for winter, even though there's the winter outdoor, but not everybody's likes to be in the snow and cold, and it gets dark soon, and you have the little ones. So this seems like the perfect place. So summertime, and now we're getting right into it.
I know. Yeah, so typically during the summer at the workshop, we do camps.
Oh, okay.
But yes, my family, we get out a lot. So I'm really proud of myself for this, by the way. I'm giving myself a 4-day week, so a 3-day weekend over the summer.
Good for you.
I know. When you set your own schedule, you would think that would be what you do all the time.
Right. But
it's not.
You're in it. Somebody's got to be there getting it
That's
going.
right. So, yeah, last summer I just hustled to get that space running, and this summer I can sit back a little bit and enjoy maybe having a garden again.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, you know, we talked about this too when we did the special. So many women, when they become moms, you just, it's very easy to just get overwhelmed, lose yourself, and just, you know, you get further and further away from that. So finding those things that bring you back to that. And, you know, you over the years in doing this is wonderful. What have you learned about yourself just in getting this project up and going?
I've learned a lot of things about myself and about, and also about how we approach community as a whole, like how Anchorage approaches community specifically, and kind of the mindset. Like what baffles me, so, you know, coming from Oregon, and a lot of other places have a lot of community centers that are active. And so when I moved up here, I was just like shocked. Like, we don't have like just community centers around to go do stuff. Like, that doesn't register with me. And so what's really cool is when people walk in and I tell them what we are, and they're like, I've never heard of anything like this. I'm like, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Because we don't have community spaces. And then also just about myself, learning more of my strengths and my weaknesses. But thankfully, one of my strengths is delegating. So
there you go.
So when I have a weakness, we could fill it in. Absolutely. But yeah, and you know, I've had to kind of start from the beginning and learn how to write grants and do this whole nonprofit world stuff. It's very interesting and different than the for-profit world that I'm familiar with. So yeah, I've learned a lot of interesting things. But as far as like how the community and like the families that I've watched grow, it's been incredible. One of the things that I particularly noticed is that older kids like coming in just as much as the little kids, which is pretty special.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So when a family comes in and they have little kids that are going to play, the bigger kids just are like, they're not complaining. They're there and they're enjoying it, which was a huge goal. Check for me.
Yeah.
Like, yes. Okay. And then we created this system that's become very popular, where we encourage youth volunteerism. And we do this ticket system, and just like, you know, like a classroom or anything else. So if you do these set jobs, then you get a ticket and you can redeem tickets for prizes. Oh my gosh. I have kids every day who come in just to volunteer.
Just for that.
They're begging their parents, can we go do chores at the workshop? And the parents are like, hey, how do we do this at home? I'm like, it's impossible. You can't.
Now, to clarify, this is something where we want the whole family there. This isn't like you come, drop your kids, and go. That's a very different thing. This is where you're trying to foster some of the relationships, maybe find some of that commonality.
Exactly.
Everybody come.
And every once in a while, we have classes that are drop-off style, you know. But as a facility as a whole, no, you need to be there with your children. You need to be engaging. And we try to make that easy. Yeah. Because it's not always easy. Especially when all your kids want to talk about is Roblox or, you know, you're like, okay.
And I'm like, what is this?
Right.
And I heard that too from, you know, I've heard from parents who are like, I don't know how to pretend play, or that's not my thing. And they're like, well, find something that's you enjoy doing. So if it's cooking, then you guys cook together, or reading, or going on a bike ride. So I love that you're bringing that perspective of it's not just, okay, let's go and entertain the kiddos. Parents want to be entertained too. The older kids want to be entertained too. Or have fun doing it together.
Absolutely. I think one of the things that I've seen transpire that really actually I've seen since the pandemic and the increase in homeschooling, and the people that were almost forced to do that, is that we've become much more aware of where our children are in different areas, educationally, socially. Like, we got to see it more. And so there's all this, that brought in more engagement from parents who want to get involved in what their kids are learning, how their kids are interacting with people. I realized my kid was really lacking in this social skill area. I'm going to invest at that time. So I see a lot of parents who are there with those intentions of like getting involved with what their kids are learning and doing. And that's awesome. Like we all we need reminders sometimes to get involved in those areas. So that's been really cool too.
Is this something that's open during the weekend? What is kind of the schedule like?
Yeah, so during the school year, we are open every day except for Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
10 to 6.
Okay.
And then in the summer, we close Sunday and Monday. And then we close a little early on Friday and Saturday. We close at 3 instead of 6 during the summer. But we also have like theme weeks every week. So like it'll be bike safety week and we'll have free craft 2 days a week. We'll have story time and it all goes with the theme, and we'll have guests come in and teach kids about stuff. Super cool. So, yeah, I mean, pretty much all the time. I'm there all the time. Except for this summer. I'm going to be home 3 days.
Those 3 days. Where's Miss LeeAnna?
I know.
She's not here. So what are some of the classes that are offered, like a typical day, or does it change every day in the schedule? I'm sure they can find on the website or on Facebook and things like that. But you had kind of mentioned like art and throughout, what do you guys have?
So gobs of stuff. We have a lot of homeschool classes during the school year during the day.
Okay.
So this year my kids took marine biology, ancient civilizations, and explorers were the 2 themes. We're about to do an explorer exhibit.
Wow.
That the kids are putting on.
Nice.
And then they did a book club, which was really cool. I taught 1st and 2nd and 3rd through 5th grade homeschool art classes. That was really fun. And then we always have art classes for like little kids, for parents to do with their little kids. So that's always going on. And then we had high school classes too. My older son, he did U.S. history and government. There was geology there. Next year, we're supposed to have forensic science class.
That'll be
How
fun.
cool is that one?
Interesting.
Yeah, so we've got lots of homeschool classes. And then we'll have like chess club. We've had Lego club. We've had various play groups. Or just like groups that meet up of moms that, that want to get together. A lot of that kind of stuff. This year, I also taught a reptile unit study. That was really fun.
Like you had actual reptiles
we
there?
did.
Ooh,
we have a couple of reptiles that live there.
Oh, do you?
Yes, the kids come in and see. So Cusco, the bearded dragon.
Oh, wow.
He's a resident there, and he is very popular.
I was going to say, I bet I know he's a hit with the
He
kids.
is a hit. We're having a birthday party for him this summer. Because he has become more popular than I am.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's hilarious.
Yeah. So, yeah, lots of stuff going on. And then volunteer-wise, we have lots of opportunities to volunteer as a family.
I was going to say, do you have an area where you would love to have this person or kind of an expert in this field, or you just, if somebody's interested, to contact you? And
Yeah,
go from
absolutely. If you're interested, even if you're interested in behind the scenes, like I'm going to mop the floor after we're closed, great. Like we always need that. I'm particularly interested in people who have a heart for community and education, of course, to come in, even if it's just to greet people and talk to people and make them feel welcomed. Or, maybe sit and prep for a craft class. That's helpful too. And then, like I said, we have a lot of kids that come in and volunteer. And they kind of they form little cleaning gangs, and they all do it together. And it's super fun and hilarious. Yeah, it's awesome. And it's teaching our kids truly that we have to think outside of ourselves. And we kind of have to solve some of our own problems. Like if you want to hang out at the workshop because it's fun and you love it, then you need to contribute, right? And that's and that's an important thing to know about the workshop is it's 100% volunteer run. There's no staff.
Yeah.
And so if you want a community center to function and you want it to bring value to your family, then you get involved and you make it valuable.
Like they say, it takes a village.
It takes a village.
Same thing. Where do you see yourself in, a couple years down the road? Do you have plans of wanting to, I know we just got this one going.
Yeah, I know.
Are you going to open 2 more?
I would love to be honest.
Your ultimate goal or, dream.
So when I put together the plan for this, I did a lot of research about what brings community centers or what brings value from community centers, how they should operate, what things maybe aren't that valuable, what things bring the most, all of that. And I was particularly looking at community betterment. So reducing ACE scores, increasing family involvement with their children's education, all of these things that we want to see our community and neighborhood thrive in. And so, okay, I took all of that information and formed the plan, but every neighborhood's different.
True.
Right.
Yeah.
Every neighborhood's different. Every side of town is different. And that is particularly true for cities like Anchorage, where you have South Side, you have West Side, you have you have all of these like categorized neighborhoods.
Yeah.
And so my goal would be to open a small workshop community center in each neighborhood that's catered to the needs of that community.
That's a great idea.
Instead of expanding into one big center, where we could do a lot less of that individual work, we want to better these individual communities. So why not have 4,000 square feet in each community?
Yeah, that one-on-one, that would be, and the commute too, save people being able trying to get there. How has your family adapted and taken to it? From the sound of it, they're enjoying it from when you first were thrusted into like, we're adopting, here's what we're doing, and kind of the chaos. Now looking back and how far they've come.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. Noticed? Yeah, let me tell you. Okay, first of all, they're taking these teenagers. I mean, I would never not do it, but it was the hardest thing I've ever done. By far. I mean, harder than raising my own children. Absolutely. Because you don't get those beginning stages to form them and shape them and protect them.
You're given like, here.
This is what you get. Yeah. Right. Good luck. You don't, all of these behaviors. I remember thinking, and I've told him this, so he's totally comfortable with me talking about it because I talk about it all the time. But I remember JD, the first one, at 16 years old, and me thinking, like, my 2-year-old knows not to do that. Are you kidding me? Like, all of these, and then having to backtrack and go, no one ever taught him not to do that. Or no one ever taught him an alternative to that behavior. So you have to start, like, way at the beginning and unlearn things in order to relearn things. And so, yeah, for my family, I saw a ton of growth just because we were working on growth, like, the whole time. But then when we decided to open this center, it was like, okay, guys, this is a family project. And all of a sudden, there's a shift in responsibility where they're like, okay, mom needs us and the community needs us. We're doing this. It's all together. My kids are in there, like, helping us put the flooring down. Like,
that's awesome.
That's the mindset now of our family as we're in service to the community. And I see all these families all the time that come in that tell us that, that they're moving out of state because of this reason or that reason or the schools or we have all these issues. I get it. And there's been a huge flux of people that have come in and been like, oh, yeah, we're moving out of state. I'm sick of this or that. And I think, please don't go, because we need people like you to be the ones that make those changes here. When your community isn't working the way you want it to, or it's not serving the way that it should serve, that's where you step in, And so a lot of people have the mentality that if it's not working, you leave. And I'm challenging that. And I'm hoping that my kids are challenging that in their behavior, where we go, instead of it saying it's not working, let's leave. No, we're going to make it work. We're going to be the change.
How do we figure it out and go forward? I had not heard of it. I'm so excited that I did. I definitely want to check it out. I have an 8-year-old. She loves to draw and art, and she is like on to the next. What are we going to do? What is this and that? So I'm and I know people listening are going to be immediately, where is this place? And that's so I commend you on doing that and having that vision and already taking on what you took on and opening that just says a lot about your character and who you are. So I know city of Anchorage thanks you. I'll just wrap it up with, is there anything else that you want to mention or add? I know you're big on the community and anything kind of final thoughts, words that you want to say.
Yeah. So I think the last thing that I think is a value to families to hear is that it is important and crucial to not only do things as a family, but to serve as a family. So not your children are watching you. And even if you are the only one that goes and volunteers because your kid thinks it's lame, keep doing it because they're watching. And I guarantee that down the road, they are going to build that in themselves because they're going to see that their parents did it, and that's what you do when you become an adult, or that's what you do when you are whatever you are. We have to show our kids service matters, and bring them along, even if they don't want to contribute.
Yeah.
Let them watch you
They'll
work.
see, and it feels great to give back. You know, like you said, kids may
Absolutely.
not get it initially, but if they see maybe they're giving some of their toys or donating to other kids
for
that are less
sure.
fortunate, it just something kind of clicks in them. And you know, we remind our girls, you know, some kids don't have that. Some
Yeah.
kids don't have, you know, and just to put it
Absolutely.
into perspective. But like you said, it's one thing to say it,
Mm-hmm.
another thing to show that action and
Show
actually do
show
it.
them, hold their hand,
Yeah.
and do it with them, and show them that it's really enjoyable. You know, volunteering doesn't have to feel like work that you're carving out of your week. It can be something you look forward to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All good stuff. Well, I love this. And LeeAnna, I know we could talk all day about it. And are you running to the workshop now?
I am.
So
You know it.
You had a
Yeah.
little break in here. Well, thank you so much for coming on and sharing
Thank
your
you.
story. I know a lot of people will be excited for that and will come check you out. And thank you all for listening to another episode of Parenting in the Far North. Don't forget to like and subscribe. LeeAnna, thanks so much.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.